Welcome to Math Minecraft Computers episode I13, where we are going to build a binary display. If you remember our 4-bit bus over here that we've created multiple times that allows us to set these different bits to on or off. And we can do all kinds of things with that in the future, but it's what we have now. Now, a binary display is actually very simple. It only can show two states, on or off. So, in a way, this redstone is a binary display for us because we can tell when it's on or off very easily. But we could put a light here if we wanted to make it even easier. And I'll run the redstone on it. And so now we can see that the off state, we have no light, and on the on state, we have a light. Simply do that on all of these across this way. And we have achieved what we would call a binary display. It's actually pretty easy. And that's not surprising in the fact that we have lots of early computers that's really all they had. Think of these as LEDs. If I want to see the value of my bus, what's on it, here you have 0, 1, 0, 1, or on, off, or power, no power, power, no power. Of course, we can change these values very easily. And as you can see, we get different values. Now we're on, off, or 1, 0, 1, 0. So a binary display is really not all that difficult. In fact, here are some pictures of some early computers, like for instance the Altair 88,000 that use simply LEDs to display everything. This is the complete output. You could read data off it. You could read memory and scroll through memory and see what it was, and as you did, these LEDs change to show you the value. So a binary display is actually pretty simple. We've actually created one here. This one you could say is the value of our bus, although it's not as useful as we might want it to be. But if you think about this being very large, let's say that this is all one computer, all of our different prototypes that we've built here, and there's a lot of logic that came back to here. And so this is maybe our input, or maybe the value of this bus could change. Then we actually might find this to be useful actually in itself in a way, because it does show us whatever is on the bus at any given time. But we want to make it a little more challenging than that. We actually like to think in terms of 1 or zeros instead of just simply on or off states. So I'm going to show a different way to build that. And we're going to start with what is called a 7-segment display. The 7-segment actually has the ability to show a lot of different numbers and letters, and they're actually very versatile. I'll show you first that we use them in electronics a lot. This is what a physical one looks like. This is what one looks like in hardware in the real world. And it is, as you can see here, it has 7 segments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then down here is a period. A lot of those have that, but they don't have to. And each of these segments is lit up by energizing one of the pins around the outside. And so that segments are called A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Those are how you light them up. Well, we can do something very similar to that in Minecraft. Okay, to build the 7-segment display, we're going to start with 3 blocks here. And on top of that, we're putting 3 redstone lamps. Do the same thing again. And we've created a horizontal segment there, a horizontal segment here, a vertical one here, a vertical one here. If we do that again, we end up with all of the segments that we need. So across the top is the segment A, and the B is here, the C is there, the D is there, the E is there, the F is there, and the G. Those are the letters just like the hardware one. Once again, A, B, C, D, E, F, and this last one here is G. And we're just going to go ahead and fill in the holes and put a frame around this. So this is the easy bit. This is the front of our display. But as you'll see, as I'll demonstrate down here, to be able to light this up, we need to have a repeater sitting right here, and we need to have wire running to that repeater from some sort of switch. In this case, I'm going to go with a button. You see when I press that, oh, sorry, I gotta have actually wire here. Okay, you can see it lights up those 3 segments. So for every time that I want one of the segments to light, I've lit up that segment. So that means for all of these, I'm going to need to have a repeater on all of these positions. So I start that way, and we put a repeater in place. There, there, there. This lights this segment, this one lights this segment, this one lights this segment. And of course we need to do that again because we have a segment there and a segment there. So we'll get these repeaters in place. And we've got it. This one will light that segment. This one will light the down segment here. This one the segment below it. So that's A. The B segment is lit up by this one. The C segment by this one. The D by that one. The E by this one. The F, and finally the G. Now the tricky part of all of this is how am I going to wire all of this to make it work? And that is the hardest part about this. So I'm going to leave it for you to try first. We did several episodes on redstone wire. See if you can figure it out and see what you come up with. And then come back to this video and we'll take it from there. So we will go on to wiring the 7-segment display. Alright, so with it cleared, we start on the bottom layer, and the easiest way to do that is start right here. We know that's going to be a repeater. We have to have a repeater there, put another block behind it, and then we extend this. So this whole length starting right there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's where we end up putting the redstone. And we just leave this last block like this. That is the way that goes. And then we are going to come over to this place. We're going to skip 1 unit and go here. And we're going to put 3 pieces of redstone down along here, like so. And we're going to do the same thing over here. 1 block, and put a piece of redstone down. Now I like to go ahead and extend this out 2 on both sides of this as we do the layers. So we have a total of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 long. From this block, we want to skip 2, put 1 down right here, skip 1, put 1 down right here. Over on this side, we have this block down. We want to go ahead and put our redstone down here. It is the same length, comes out to here. Skip 1 more block past that here, and we put a torch, like so. And then we go back to our block, and we skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and there's 1 right here. Okay, so that is the beginning. All of these have redstone on top of them. This one is actually our connection right here. That'll be coming in just a second. So this is the one that's actually connected. We come all the way out here. We're going to put a repeater here to symbolize the end of the line. So that would be our connector there. And we can do the same thing here. We can do the same thing here. And we can put another repeater right here as well. That is where we start. Now, that is the bottom level. The next level we move up with, I'm going to symbolize it by putting our 2 pieces here. We have our 3 pieces of light here. This repeater is actually in that level, but we left it out. We're going to start by putting this here, 2 of those, like so. Put our repeaters on top to light those up, and then we do our redstone here. Now you see this connection here, and this connection here, and this over here. Don't worry about those right now. That's not going to be a problem at all. All right, so we come 2 away from this. So it is 2, 1, 2 in this direction. Move over in the same way, 1, 2 in this direction. And we have 2 blocks right here on the next level. So that's these 2. They also have redstone on them like this. you've got this row right here. Starting right off of this row, you skip 2 and you put a block up here, like so. And it has redstone on it as well. Now, you wouldn't be surprised to find that these are connected this way. And so we're starting to build our connections into the actual circuit. The next one is here and here, and here, and here. Put a block here on that, and that is actually going to be followed by 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you'll see that when you do that, that breaks this connection. Remember, we had a connection from here up to here, and the same thing on the other side. That's not broken because this block does it. If you remember that from our original piece that we did a while back, way back on redstone wiring, that is known as a blocker, or a block that stops that connection. So if you have the same thing here now, we'll be dealing with it in just a little bit. So now here's this connection out from that segment out to this location. Okay, with that built, you're going to put a block coming off of here, and you have another one there, and another one there. These have redstone on them as well, so it's there and there. And we're set for that particular level, except that we need to come over to this side and do a little bit more work. And once again, we're going to come off of here. Okay, so that's 3 blocks back. You skip 2 and you put a block here and there. Delete that block. This is a connection coming. Then you have 1 here, in front of that one, this, and then you have 2 coming this way. And so that is the connection there. And of course, we're going to have our block here, like so. This is all redstone. And we leave it just like that. This, as you can imagine, is going to come down here, and we put a repeater here as well. Now, over here on this torch, we need to put a block, like so. And we're done. Moving on to the next level, which is this one with the center segment. We'll go ahead and widen this, like so. We put another torch right on top of that. And then we are going to wire these pieces in here and here. And once again, we do 2 of these, like so. And you wouldn't be too surprised to find that we put a level here, like so, on this side with our redstone. Now that one is connected in. You see it comes down over to here. And we're going to do the same thing here. Put a block there, redstone here and here, and of course our repeater goes there. We've got this one connected here, this one comes down here and connects here, this one comes down and connects here. We've got that bottom one connecting through here. This one over on this segment comes out and connects here. So really what we're left with is this top segment. Everything else is wired. You won't at all be too surprised if you find I put 2 blocks here. Watch when I do this. This piece of redstone that is here will be cut just like that. And I'm going to come off with 2 more blocks back this way, and then bring them all the way over to here on top of that, and we start doing our redstone. Now, the last thing we need to do is make sure we cut these wires, so we put a block here and here, here and here. Now, technically, you don't have to have these if you don't want them. This one you should, because I'm supposed to have a repeater there, like this. You don't have to have it. You can keep these, or you can go ahead and bring it, depending on which way. I'm going to leave them like this. And then the last piece we need is go ahead and build the front of this, like this. Now we'll go to the front. You can see that there's our segments right here. And they're wired thus. Now all we have to do to get this last segment is bring wire from here. Now if you prefer for any reason, you can run the wire this way. It doesn't matter. You still have this coming out here. And the same thing applies to this other side. if you want to run the wire along here, you can. You have the guard block right there to keep that from coming up. So we'll go ahead and we'll do this. We'll put our repeaters in place. This one shouldn't need a repeater. There's some good stuff here, and we do finally, I'll go with a button. So I'm going to activate all of these with a button. There, there. The test what does what, if I click this button, you'll see that bottom segment lights up. There it is. That's that repeater, so that's the bottom segment right there. Here is the bottom left segment, because it's the left if you were facing the other side. This segment is going to be the top. Get up here a little bit higher and I'll come up. You see that's that top right segment. This segment is the whole top segment, if you can see it there. So the way that works is it comes here. This is a torch vertical lift up to here. So, you know, if I press that button, you'll see that light up. I'll show you a variation you can do. There's that lit up. It leaves us these last ones over here. That is the center segment. This is the top left segment, and this, of course, is the bottom left segment. So they're all wired up now. We have this working. This is where we bring our wires into whatever device we wanted. And that is a 7-segment display. Now what you could do, if you like better, is you could build a, if you recall, a ladder here. So now we just need to get a slab of any choice that we can. So you've got all of these different prismatic slabs that you can get with. You can go with white. So I generally end up with this for when I do my ladders. I'm going to go ahead and replace the button with it. So the other way you can wire this is you can connect to the side of this on the top. The wrong one. You need to choose the slab. And then you bring that down top of this one. Top of that one, bring it over to here. Top of that, and then lastly you need to put a block down here. The wrong way, of course. Replace that, put this block in here, and then the last one we need is the top of this. We can get rid of that, and then we add our redstone. So this will work too. It's a way to bring that power up. I'm just going to put a torch down here to show you how this works. The difference and the reason I don't normally go that way is you'll notice it dies right here anyway. Because it's enough wire that you end up putting a repeater. You put the repeater right there. So you end up with the delay anyway. That can be your choice of however you want to do that. I generally stick with the double that I have, but this works too. Either way, how you want to do it. Because I like the other, I'm going to change it back. If you recall, that is just simply a block here, torch, block on top of that, torch, and that has a block on it that has redstone, like this. Okay. You can do it however you like. That is a 7-segment. And you've got it like this. Now we're going to use that 7-segment to display either a 1 or a 0. Now if you think about a 1, I guess I will leave these repeaters. We don't have to have them necessarily right now, but I'm going to put a torch back here, like so, just to show you that this lights up. So there is that segment turned on right there. The other segment you see that we want on is this one right here. You can see it comes down right beside it. So we go back to the front of this now. I have a 1. Now the other thing that we want to show that is the powered state is I want to have a 0. If there is no power, I want to have a 0. Well, 0 is every segment except for that middle one. So it's the top segment. You see that one's lit up. It is this segment here, and it is this segment here. And then one of these two, I believe. So it's this bottom segment, and this bottom segment is powered right there. So that's going to be the 0. Go around here and take a look. So there's our two zeros. Now if you think about displaying a 0 or a 1, the 1 is this group right here. It is always on. And the only thing we need to add is this section here if we want a 0. So how are we going to do that? Well, it's going to be pretty simple to do. To illustrate, we're going to go back here with a lever. Actually, I'll put the lever here. It'll be easier to see what happens. Where do I like it? I think I like the lever right there. And bring that redstone around all the way. We'll turn it on to see where we lose power. And put our repeaters in place as we need them. We're just going to bring that all the way back here. And here it is. Now for the 1, we said, when this is on, we want a 1. Well, that's pretty simple. In fact, we want this on all the time. So it doesn't really matter what we do. I'm just going to connect it into here for now. These two can be connected together. And so there's our 1. Turn this off. We get nothing. Turn it on. We get our 1. So now, of course, how do we get a 0? To get a 0, we're going to turn on every other segment that we have here except for this one right here. Turn this one on. You'll see that's that middle segment, and we don't need that. So how are we going to do that? What have we learned about logic? That means we're going to have a wire that comes from here to here, all the way over to here. And we want this wire to be on if that wire is off. We should know what to do now. That's right, we're going to build an inverter. If we invert this signal like so, and bring this over to here, the only thing we need to do is flip the switch now and add some repeaters as necessary. Now you can see that we're coming over here and we're losing power right here and right there. So if I just put a repeater in this area, I'll now have all of those powered. So we can look and see that all of our lines that we want are powered. But keep in mind that for the same thing, we want these on as well, but we want them only on in one way. So I need to put a repeater here. Or I could just do it with one repeater actually. Let's move the repeater back to here, and then we will power that. Well, we got a loop in here because of that. So we can also put a repeater here, like so. And we've got it. Now if you go to the front, we have a 0 or a 1. There's our 0, the switch is off, or a 1, the switch is on. So this is how we're going to do a binary display that will show us 1s and 0s. So keep in mind, all we really had to do is turn off some of these segments. That'd be these segments that you see off here if it's a 0. Now to even make this easier, what I would do is I would actually move these two differently. I wouldn't worry about powering these when it's off. They're powered all the time. So what I would do, since I like redstone blocks, I'm going to replace my candle with a redstone block, and I'm just going to put it right there. What that does is it always turns on these. Now it doesn't matter what the state of this is. Those are always going to be powered. So even if I just cut this like this, it will be powered. Because this is off now, I always get a 0. Turn this on. What happens is it goes to here. The signal is inverted here, and that turns this switch off. And so all of our other segments go off. You wouldn't even have to build, if you didn't want to, this segment here. If you think about it being a 0, we don't even need that, but I wanted to show you a full 7 segment. We'll be using the same thing later. So there you go, binary display. We have a 0 and a 1. Pretty simple. Once again, constantly powered these segments, as you recall when we were looking at this at segment A, B, C. B and C are always on. D, E, F here, and G. So we've turned on A and D, E, and F using an inverter of our signal. Now what I think it would be really nice, to make sure you understand that this inverter comes to here and then it goes to all the other segments but the middle one, which is right here. This is constantly powered because those 2 segments are on no matter what we do. So they're tied high, as you might say if you were building a circuit. And there's our 1 and 0. But what I would really like to be able to do is I would love to have, instead of a switch, but a button. Maybe about right here that I can punch, and it will switch between the 1 and 0. And then I would just bring that out, that block, this, as you can see. Oops, got rid of my button, not what I wanted to do. There it is. Bring that all the way down to here. And that's what we want now. You can see that it is working. There's your 1 and your 0, but I want to remember, I want it to be 0, I want to click this, and I want it to stay 1 and not switch back to 0. So the question is, how are we going to get it to do that? I want to be able to punch it, and it will just switch back and forth between the 2. We actually have what we need, and in our next video, we'll be covering exactly what that is. So I will take all of this off, and we will learn how next time we are going to be able to enable our button to be the trigger to go back and forth. Alright, we will eliminate that. For that, we are going to need some memory. We're going to have to remember 1 single bit. That is it for MMC I13, where we learned how to build a 7-segment display in Minecraft, how to wire it up back here, and how we used it to display a 1 or a 0. That is it. Keep on learning. Imroy out.